Okay, so welcome to the Stellify podcast. And today I'm very honoured to be joined by a woman whose work has touched thousands of people seeking to reclaim their truth inside this upside down world. Jessica Alstrom is a metaphysical teacher, quantum guide, and intuitive mentor who has dedicated her life to decoding the matrix, guiding people through their trauma, and helping them reconnect to their authentic I am presence. Jessica speaks from experience, both personal and collective, and her work bridges the human and cosmic, the practical and quantum, in a way that's grounded, embodied, and refreshingly direct. So I'm hoping in this chat we will explore the nature of this matrix we're born into, the process of waking up from programmed slavery, and how we can shift timelines by choosing to live from the soul and not from the script. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Jessica, thank you so much for joining me on this chat. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to finally talk about this from the other side. I feel like I've been kind of like teaching from like down in the trenches for so long that just literally a few months of kind of like making it to this other side of the illusion and then looking backwards, it's like, okay, now this was all worth it. Now it's fun. It's fun again, right? So no, I'm
Good.
excited to
Well,
be here.
well, if you don't mind, can you maybe start us from sort of like the beginning of your story, what life was like before your awakening, and what started to change?
It's funny. I look back at that now, and it's like I see it even different. I kind of grew up tragically. I think when you are one that is literally kind of anointed to get out of the game and create your own matrix, then you're not going to choose an easy path because comfort. You get lost in comfort. So I feel like my entire life has been like a stage of different miseries to kind of wake me up in different ways. On top of being kind of like, the abused kid, I was also dyslexic. And not knowing it then, I think I had a little bit more than a small amount of autism as well. I had dyslexia. I saw everything from the end. I would read from the end, and back then they weren't testing kids. They weren't being kind to kids like that. So I learned how to kind of like make it up as I went, and learned all these different kind of like personality techniques to cover up what would have gotten me held back. I would kind of like fake my way through everything and lived in my imagination. We moved all the time, so I never had any roots. My dad left really early. It's like a horrible country song, but it worked out for me because it always forced me to go within because I was always going without. So I would
Yeah.
always ask myself, like, why? And living in your imagination, I think also I believe that when you have a lot of survival issues as a kid, it makes you naturally more intuitive because you have to be.
Yeah.
It's not a glamorous intuitive. It's more of like, I need to read your body language so I can see if I'm going to be safe right here. I'm going to read
Yeah.
lips from across the room to see what kind of mood you're in. Because again, it was like survival. It wasn't like, oh, I was this intuitive kid and I was talking to ghosts. It was just like I was feeling people's emotional patterns out at 5 years old. So I think that it was one of those things where it kind of like was born awake a little bit.
Okay.
My mom was addicted to drugs, so I was high at birth. And I came in and I was in an incubator for like on and off for six weeks basically because I was just not growing.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like came into the world like at an altered state. And I grew up at that time where my mom was a nightclub singer, and like we had a different stepdad every 6 months, and we traveled everywhere, and we didn't take medicine because my mom was kind of like this new age hippie, and she found different cults for us to figure out where to be. And so it was just like, it's the traditional train wreck story.
Yeah.
And then of course, I made the decision. I'm like, I'm going to be the first one that goes to college, and I'm going to make something of my life. And, I'm going to get married and have to pick a fence and blah, blah, blah. Then I get pregnant at 19. It's like the story, the loops just no matter how much you want to prove everybody wrong, you're literally playing out what you modeled. Right. So I
Yeah.
start modeling all this, and then I kind of like I remember turning 30 and feeling like, wait, like something just kind of started to click. And when
Okay.
you start to study scripture a little bit, you start to see that there is different switches in this game, and 30 is kind of a pivotal age of like your spiritual experience is starting to kind of like switch over. And it was like clockwork. At 35, I was again, this I was going on my second husband, and I left California to get away from like Hollywood and everything. That my last stepdad ended up being in Hollywood as a writer, and
Okay.
I had to get out of that energy. And so I end up trying to find my lost father in the middle of the country in Kansas, like total sad
Wow.
story. Didn't really connect with him, but I got my kids out of LA. And at this point, I'm like single mom with three little girls. And then I end up pregnant with my fourth child, who is a boy, and I'm getting married to like my dream man, and all these things. And I remember it was like right when we got married, I started noticing similar patterns. Like, oh my God, he's got a temper like my mom, and just like the same story. I was like, I can't outrun myself. I can move 2,000 miles away and like same shit, different day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I remember being 7 months pregnant and literally like calling a psychic and being like, is this my soulmate? Because at that point it was like those things were starting to be more available.
Yeah.
And I was already kind of like dabbling with The Secret a little bit, and I was always a little bit of awake, if that makes sense. Where it was like I had no formal training, but it was just like I knew, I saw, even though I made every mistake, there was like an awareness there that I can't truly like comprehend even now, but it was there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would watch myself do these things. I would be like, wow, I'm about to make a really bad choice. And I remember I was 7 months pregnant with my son, and we didn't have air conditioning in this vehicle. And it's like the middle of summer, it's humid. And I drive down this street into a swarm of bees.
Oh no.
And I got stung, I don't know, 100 times. And I was so afraid that I was going to get in trouble by my husband at the time that I literally, the adrenaline, I just drove home and like didn't tell anybody. And like I'm sitting there 7 months pregnant, so I already have like superhuman hormones through my body. And now I
Hmm.
have adrenaline, and it just, now I know it was a full Kundalini experience. Like my Kundalini just like
Wow.
popped, and like the energy went up
Wow.
my spine, and I passed out for basically like 4 hours
Wow.
pregnant. And again, like I didn't tell anybody because I was afraid to get in trouble. I don't want to be a
Yeah.
burden. So I just remember during that 4 hours that felt like 4 minutes, I saw Jesus, or someone who appeared to be like that kind of that image,
Hmm.
and told me everything I was going to do over the next 20 years and why I had to go through everything I was going through. And 2012 was going to be the anchor point, and the matrix was going to get switched off, and then I was going to help deprogram people. And I was just like, I mean, like, okay. So I come out of this like dream, and all my filters are blown. Like
Yeah.
I could see into people's bodies. I could read the thought they were going to think 5 minutes in the future, like what they were going to think.
Amazing.
And again, like I'm having this totally human experience at the same time, where I'm like, I'm afraid to tell anybody what's happening to me because I'm going to be in the loony bin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Already my whole life, it was like, you're the weird one, so it was like, I'm in the Midwest now, the Bible Belt, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pregnant with this like good cowboy-esque Christian man. And I'm like seeing things and reading energy and like reading about crystals and talking to trees. And I literally was seeing so deeply into people's body. I was having a hard time seeing like what color hair they had, because I could see like if they had the
Wow.
smallest little, kind of anything in their organs. I could smell their organs. It was tremendously scary. Like I couldn't even barely drive, because when the veil's gone, there's so much going on that I'm like, is that real? Like, am I gonna hit what I just saw, and why is there a 12-foot praying mantis right here, And I know this sounds crazy, but I literally hid it from everyone. And I had the excuse of, of kind of like having depression because you just have a baby. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting there for basically like 4 or 5 months with this newborn telling everyone, oh, I can't drive because I'm depressed. Right. And I'm like, what am I had at this point, like I had Abraham Hicks, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? It was just
Yeah.
like, I had Wayne Dyer, and then then I found like Joe Dispenza, and I found, like Greg Braden, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that right there is what I'm seeing. What they're talking about, I'm seeing in people. So I knew
Yeah.
it was quantum. I knew what I was experiencing. And their teachings were the only thing that felt like, yes, this is comprehension of what I'm experiencing. So I kind of
Yeah.
like dove into that as a sacred space. But what was happening is I was having all this energy running through me, and I was like, I got to put my hands on someone. Like, I just want to walk over and touch you, and you have breast cancer, and this, and it was just like, oh my gosh, what am I doing?
Wow.
And long story short, I learned how to turn the volume down.
I was
But
going to ask that.
I
Yeah.
went through, all of the cross, like, getting my kids threatened to get taken care away from me because they started hearing me on radio show. I was finding lost kids across the state, remote viewing.
Wow. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, your kid's on the corner of Fletcher, but I wasn't telling anybody, And so finally one day I was like, I had a mother-in-law who threatened to take my child away from me. And I remember just sitting in meditation, like, I have two choices. I'm either going to turn the volume down or I'm going to turn the volume up. Like, there's no way out here. It's like, you know, and I just was like, you know what? We're going to get this volume up because my son, he has to be a part of this somehow. Like, he has to be, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he even told me the day he was going to be born, like, and it's a scripture. So it's like, you can't make up what's already been made, you know?
That's it.
And so then over the next, I would say 15 years, I did what most spiritual people do. You get lost in this spiritual savior, rescuer. I had no idea that I really still had an ego. I had no idea that, I was bypassing a lot of my own trauma because I was able to see everyone but me,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and so it's just like I just kept rising and rising, 3 wellness centers, and I'm on getting these awards in Australia, and I'm like opening up biohacking centers. And then about 3.5 years ago, it was like someone pulled the plug on my entire game. Like,
Really?
and it was just like I could no longer show up. Like,
Wow.
I didn't want to help anyone. I kept like trying to build this franchise opportunity with all this like scalar technology and this quantum medicine. And it was just like someone was like, nope, every door shut. Every door.
Wow.
I lost everything. I lost every ounce of money I had invested, other people's money. I lost everything. And I literally lost the will to even like care. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but it was like my old life. Like, I was literally having this daily death experience. Like, the
Yeah.
old simulation was like, okay,
Yeah.
this time is up. Now you have to go here. And because I had such a big ego still of like, my own personal pride, and like, no, this
Hmm.
isn't how my life is going to go. I fought it. And all it did was it took me deeper into the void. It took me deeper into darkness. And I realized darkness was real. Because, you're in the love and light world, and you're like, oh, no, dark, we just love everything, and I realized darkness was real. And I started getting thrown across the room by things, and I started like having spiritual warfare happening. And so I literally remember going like, I don't want to be here. Like,
Yeah.
I want to unalive myself, and of course I would never because of my children, but at that point I was just like, what is happening to me? And then
Yeah,
one
yeah.
morning, and this was about 3 years ago, I wake up speaking some language, which is not that unnormal for me. I mean, I do that weird stuff. Speaking a language I had not like heard. So of course I talk to text it, and then I throw it into the Google search like chat, and it came back as Aramaic,
Wow.
and it was the Lord's Prayer. Now let me tell you,
Wow.
I did not own a Bible at all. Never didn't grow up religious. We grew up in different science cults, and so it was like, what the heck? Why am I speaking this? But whenever I would speak it, like all this grief would start coming up, and
Okay.
I actually went and asked my daughter. I was like, "What is this?" Because I didn't own a Bible. Here I am, a spiritual teacher, no idea of anything that has to do with religion, because it's like, ooh, that's the enemy. And she was like, "Mom, that's the Lord's Prayer. That's like the most famous prayer." And I was like, "Well, I woke up speaking it." And she was like, "Well, Mom, you do that weird stuff sometimes." So she's like 17 years old at the time, so it's not that uncommon for her. But it was like I went to like the thrift store, and I literally bought like $1 Bible because I had no money at the time. And I'm
Okay.
like looking at these words, and I'm like, what is this? And I had no idea that over the next 3 years, I was literally going to go through Jesus's walk. I went through every single thing that that scripture was talking about, like everything, the disciples and this and that, and it was just like but it was all happening inside of me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It wasn't like physically. It was literally like the 40 days and the 40 nights, and it was like I got obsessed with matching what was showing up in my physical right with the scripture, and I realized this is a treasure map. I realized that when you're done being in the inverted, it's almost like the upside down world. When you're done with the inversion game, right? Well, then you have to settle up. And the
Yeah.
settling up is literally kind of like your death rebirth experience. And I think every single religion has it actually wrong. But if you put all of the religions together, somehow there's like a missing piece here. And like I found a missing piece in Christianity in Kabbalah, right? And I'm like, this piece over here. And so, of course, the whole time I'm going through this hellish dark night, I'm teaching. I still have a
Yeah.
master class going. I'm still putting stuff on YouTube because I'm like, somebody else must be going through this. And
Yeah.
I got no shame in my game to be like I'm at the bottom of the trenches. You guys, this is not glory. This is not sexy. But this is what I discovered this week. And so my master classes started becoming like my next walk, like my next week, right? And literally it was so raw and real. It's like you can't make this up.
No.
And I would go and look for other people that were like going through certain things, and I couldn't see anyone that was, like a podcaster, or they all appeared to be already on the other side.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
have their book
Yeah.
coming out, or they have this, and I'm like, is there nobody down in the trench? Like,
Yeah.
there can't be before and afters. There's got to be. And so, I kind of just stopped being on social media in that way, where it was just like, I'm not going to look for that misery loves company influence. I'm just going to just, deal with it. And because
Yeah.
I kept all my gifts pretty much, I mean, I could still channel spirit, and I could still talk to, the different sides of the veil. And being a Gemini, like I'm very comfortable in the dark. Like
Yeah.
I very much understand what it is, but I didn't understand it from like that love and light place. When you realize that this is a literal holographic game, and it has very strategic placements. And again, is it exactly like Jesus? No, it's all a metaphor.
Yeah. Sure.
But it is literally the process of it's the metamorphosis. It's the caterpillar dissolving in itself in the goo, right? And it has to dissolve every ounce of its DNA, because if there's even one thread of a caterpillar's DNA a butterfly won't know how to fly because the caterpillar believes it can't fly. So it all goes down to these like deep level belief systems that have to get destroyed.
Yeah,
And it's
100%.
like, are we really dying? No, we're dying to live. Like, how much are we really alive in the third dimension? No. Like, you're alive, but you're not. You're not alive. You're not living. So it's like, I realize I'm like, I'm dying to live, which is obviously one of the names of my books that I've been writing over these past 3 years as I've been documenting all of this.
Yeah.
But it's been, now it's like, okay, I've gotten to the other side and I've gotten the new coordinates for the new game. And the new game is choose your own adventure. All
I
right.
like that.
And it is all about you choosing your ability to be sovereign. Like it's not like, okay, here's your sovereign card. It's like, no, you go through all of this and then you literally choose what you want, where you're going and what you're
Yeah.
doing and what your gospel is going to be. Because if you can make it through the game, you will have a gospel. And that's what I'm working on right now is all these new coordinates. Now it's like, okay, now I know why I had to go through every single layer. Now I know why the divine feminine is missing from all scripture. Now I know, now I know what the hell the dragons are showing up for. It's like you can't make this up. And then when you look at everyone's specific game, because I continue to mentor, I always had about 15 students that I would privately mentor throughout the year.
Yeah.
And I would see their game and different storyline, different backstory, same exact game board.
Okay. Okay.
There's literally a game board here. And there's a way to hack it. And again, if
Oh.
I would have known 3 years ago, I probably could have scaled this down in 6 months.
Right. Okay.
You,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Because again,
Yeah.
it's like the ego takes everything so personally, and it's like there's this like emotion, and when you can kind of get into that non-emotional place, like the neo non-emotional observer, and you just go, "What's the next move?" Right? Well, now you're playing in that observer's perspective instead of that victim or that kind of you're trying to beat something. Like there's no beating,
Yeah.
there's observing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's where it really comes down to the sweet spot of the biohacking process is the ability to observe all of your fragmented parts, right? Because again, you come into the third dimension, and technically, if you look at the game board, the third dimension is the inversion of what heaven would be, or unity. So of course we've got unity. Well, we need to have the opposite, which is separation. So
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you come down here, by the time you were 5 years old, you are separated from yourself. You have DID. You have lots of different personalities formulating to create different survival expressions in a world that's in separation. So you are literally taught to fragment. And so as you're going through the game, there's different masks that keep you kind of alive in different ways and help you, but they're not all speaking to each other. So you've got desire going this way, and you've got, need to protect yourself going that way. And it's like 10 steps forward, 10 steps back, and it becomes like major Chinese handcuffs in the game until it's almost like your soul's like, hey, I'm really trying to get into that body down there. You need to make some room. And then it's like the ego death begins, and then that's like that soul intervention starts to happen where that deep level of soul awareness starts to birth. And
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, well, it's too late to go back, because it's like there's just certain things that like even your body won't let you go back after a certain while because there's nothing to go back to. Is this at all making sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely makes sense. Can I take you back to when you had that Kundalini
Yeah.
experience?
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe something made that happen to you, or is it you that made that happen? I mean, I know
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
It's all scripted. What
Exactly.
I
That's what we're
mean
going to
is,
say. It's
even before
scripted.
you come, you set it all up.
Yeah.
You set up exactly when you're going to wake up, you know, how it's going to be. Is it going to be a near death experience? Is it going to be ayahuasca? Is it going to be, you know, a hive of bees? You literally set it up in a way that everything has actually already happened. Because even if you go back to scripture, you know, it's like everything is already at the end, and they tell the story from the end at the beginning. So you've already done this, right? But you're human. The one, it's kind of like, I try to say it like this. Have you ever played a video game? Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I ask people, do you believe that you're the avatar in the game, or you're the one with the joystick? Right? Which one are you?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm the
So,
one with the joystick.
right. But as soon as as soon as you get into separation, you believe that you are the one in the game. And then the more you separate from yourself, the more you disconnect from this.
That's
So
correct.
now
Yeah.
the you that hasn't left its wholeness is trying to get your attention. A, B, A, B. You're down there going, hey, are you my real mommy? Like, you're talking to other characters that are also separated. And so the game literally is about reconnection to get the
Yeah.
coordinates from the mountaintop rather than the valley. And
Yeah.
so,
Like you're saying about being the observer, isn't it?
yes,
You observe your own avatar. It's like, that's why we say my body or my brain. Who's the my then?
exactly. So again, it's like, if I believe that I am that avatar, then I don't believe that I'm in a parallel, like, timeline in divine perfection that's already beat the game, that's now just taking myself through the game that I built, that I coded, that I created, to see how my avatar will do in the exact game I just built. So
So you're
this is
learning how
why,
to control your avatar.
exactly. And this is why when you participate, when your avatar is constantly participating in reaction, right? And
Hmm.
it's like going along, then because that is a fragment of you down there, you built it, right? That it has the ability to choose to stay disconnected. So what I believe, and again, this is from my perception, is that the me that's like, here, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get that attention. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes I have a teenage son, and I can be like, wake up, honey. And then I'm like, don't make me get the cold bucket of water. You know what I mean? So it's like, was that my bees? Was that my experience? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have these gentle nudges. And then those gentle nudges are going to be like, hey, idiot, wake up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to reconnect with you. So now you can be done with this. And then we basically merge, and then we play the game in, ooh, let's choose it together, from you down in the valley, me in the mountaintop. Now we're co-creating.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
that second
Okay.
game is all about co-creation from the you that never loses its ground, from that place of unity where it's never experiencing lack or separation. And so
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
where, like, Neville Goddard's work can come in handy, because it's like teaches you how to live in the wish fulfilled, which is the you that's sitting on the couch with the joystick. Like, okay, well, what would I be right now if I was already where I wanted to be? Right. And again, you know, I believe your higher self, or your anchor point, your higher perspective, is constantly trying to get you to find that vibration of stillness, of pause, of non-reaction, of observership. Because the
Mm.
cheat code into heaven or the new earth or 5D is literally be still. Stop participating, because you'll start to see the glitches. Like, as soon as you stop, like, going with all of this, you literally start to see the strings.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
But the strings are your nervous system. And your nervous system is streaming the game you're playing. So it comes down to your nervous system, your ability to pause and even play in that neutral observation, and watch yourself react, watch yourself desire, watch yourself need, watch yourself want. but just watch.
Yeah.
And then it's
Yeah.
like you practice that a little bit more, you regain your breath, okay? And it comes down to three things: pause, breath, and nervous system. You want to get into the fifth dimension? Those are your three master points. It's always a trinity.
Yeah.
And that is it. That is the biohack of the entire third dimensional game to the timeline shift. Is the nervous system, it is the breath, and it is the pause. That is it.
Do you think the nervous system acts as a filter? Because I noticed the more people I come across that are awake or aware, if you like, to the inversion of this reality, they've gone through trauma.
Mm.
You know, of some description, the nervous system has been broken down, and then they've allowed to see through the filter, if you like. Do you see that as something? I've not come across many people, I don't think, that have not had trauma anyway, but I mean, in some shape or form. But it
Mm-hmm.
seems to be the ones that have been traumatized that then see this reality for what it is, that it is a slavery system.
It is.
And we're on a repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're saying about the cycles, you were repeating all these cycles
Mm-hmm.
because you weren't fully aware of yourself at that point and the
No.
stories that you were doing.
Right. You can have, and this is where I feel like the spiritual scarcity is where, I mean, it's almost like you could be a spiritual teacher and still be in a state of scarcity. Even though
Yeah.
you know the secrets of the universe, you can channel the ninth dimension, Palladian. You can still have a fear of money or still worry about the IRS coming, because look at the way I look at it is, and this might be my autism, but when I look at the nervous system, if you look at it without skin, it looks like rooting. It looks like a root system. Okay. If you
Yeah.
look at it just bare bones, like without. And so it's the rooting system that before you were separated from nature, you were literally connected to the mycelium, which is all of the fungi. You are connected through bare skin, right? Breath, through
Mm-hmm.
nature, through sunlight. You're connected to as above, so below. And that is the streaming. It's all Wi-Fi. So you're connected to the Wi-Fi of source.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what happens is as soon as you start to get shaken away from your nature, that's why I call sin separate in nature,
Okay.
because you're getting separated from nature over these course of these 5 years, and your brain starts to harden into I am separate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it starts to try to find a new stream. So it's just like if you can stream Netflix, you can understand your nervous system. Your nervous system is as a streaming capability. It is literally, it's like fiber optics that are going looking for different data centers and Wi-Fi. So what happens down here in the inversion is source is kind of cut away from you, rubber shoes, plastic, all of this. And the nervous system is looking for a streaming point. It's looking for what to stream to so it can identify what it is. You can't see what's happening outside of you. It's like, what am I? Who am I? Okay? And it was connected to source through the nature, through the elements, through ether. But as that
Mm-hmm.
starts to get separated, the nervous system then it goes into kind of a danger sequence, and instead of thrive and create, it goes into survive and manipulate. Because now it's
Yeah.
gone rogue. It's disconnected from source, but it needs a home to stream to. So now I'm gonna stream to my boyfriend and my parents and money and movies, and that's gonna become my master, my guide, my creator, and it's gonna become codependent on that which I believe I need to stay alive. But then as soon as the nervous system is disconnected from source, you're already beginning your death sequence. It may take you 80 years. But if you were
Yeah. Yeah.
streaming to source, you'd live 8,000 years. So we think, oh, you're not disconnected from source. Yeah, you are. Because we are completely immortal when the nervous system is streaming source.
Yeah.
So you can choose. Your cells have no idea how old they are. With the study of epigenetics, we understand that if we can create the own inner environment, right? I can create the Garden of Eden literally in my imagination using music and sound and breath and stillness, and my body will literally at some point reconnect to source because it believes it is. So our job is to cut the stream of the false world, right?
Yeah.
All the distraction, all the poison music, all that stuff, and then learn how to get back to our nature. All right, and then it's not sexy at all. It doesn't come from, it doesn't come from a mantra. It comes from an intention to learn how to stream the Wi-Fi. So when you're connected to source, you're connected to the field, the quantum field, where
Yeah.
all possibilities exist. And this is how two games can exist at one time. Because I could still have parts of my nervous system that are streaming into the 3D, and I could have parts of my nervous system that are now reconnecting and recoding to the field. So now I can manifest a miracle at 8 a.m. and manifest a wreck at 5 p.m.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is where spiritual people
Yeah.
start to hide this situation. Like, oh, I'm a spiritual teacher. They can't know that I had a wreck today. How did I manifest that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're not authentic enough. That's the problem, because it's the ego that obviously, they don't
it's
want
self-preservation.
Yeah.
And I can have compassion for those, because that was me. I'm a single mom. I literally pay my rent as a spiritual teacher, and I'm supposed to be the example. I'm supposed to be someone who's walking my talk. But see, even if you go back to scripture, there was a whole Pharisee community that was literally the voice of God who couldn't perform healings. And then Jesus comes on the line and he's like raising the dead, and they're like, who's this guy? Because they're all in spiritual scarcity. So it's like, I totally fell into that like Pharisee category, where it was like, nobody can know that I'm struggling with money, or nobody can know that I can't find a good man, because I can literally channel 24 hours a day. I can put my hands on you and I can shrink your tumor, but I don't know how to pay my bills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah.
You really can be. And I think kind of like being kind of born into that like altered state, it possibly kept a few of my nervous system cords connected to source. But the rest of them were looking for a home. You're looking for God. So your nervous system is always looking for a source to channel through, to know thyself through. So this is why I always ask people, like, what is your why? Your why will tell you where your nervous system is, right? And to me, the acronym of why is like, what haunts you, hungers you, hurries you, holds you. It could be positive or negative, because it's whatever holds you that has your nervous system. So then you want to look at all of the kind of maritime law, like break all that stuff down, which I have, and realize that all of the English language is designed to connect you to the stream of the third dimension. Every word we say that's English connects you to the stream of the 3D.
Yeah,
from the word wake up to good morning, it's all let me create my own death.
Absolutely. Yeah. So all spell casting.
It's all spell casting. And again, our ears are a womb. So as we're listening, we're incubating, right? And the divine feminine is the portal. So all of the womb space is literally either incubating more of this separation, right? Or we could be incubating the heaven within.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. So who's created this then, Jessica? Who's created this then? I mean, we say they keep us enslaved. They do this, they do that, but the question is, who are they? I mean, I've gone down a Gnostic route over the past couple of years, interesting kind of Gnostic route, and looking at the sort of the demiurge and the archons and things like that. But is it us that's creating it as a test for ourselves, as a journey, as our, like you say, we're in our own Truman Show, aren't we?
We are.
So are we creating it ourselves to be not be bored in this journey of whatever we're trying to achieve?
Mhm.
What do you think
Let
it
me
is?
explain this to you from like a child's perspective, because that's the only way you truly can. Well, first of all, I have a son who has taught me so much about reality because of his childlike mind. And I remember when he was a little boy, he would always say, "Let's play good guys and bad guys." And I want to be the bad guy because they have better guns, they have more money. And so it was almost like, which is more fun, right?
Yeah.
Right? Is this like power versus love, right? And going through my experience over the last basically 30 years, I have gone into deep kind of like reconciliation for different timelines that are all happening now. And I have been in the darker realities. And I'll tell you that the passion and the power, it's pretty addicting.
Hmm.
Okay. It's a pretty addicting to feel that kind of power, even though it's quick bursts, just like a drug. You're going to need more of it in 20 minutes. That can keep someone recycling a dark reality for a long time. Okay.
Mm.
The second
Mm.
key point I'll bring you to is I used to play alone a lot. So because I didn't have any friends, I would play with dolls, right? And so let's say I had 10 dolls. Well, I'm animating all of them. Okay,
Yeah.
so just look at the concept of creator here. I'm picking this one up, talking to this one, right? And then I'm creating scenarios over here where this one's talking about this one, and then well now I want more dolls because I got like a community going on. But at the center point, there's one creator, there's one narrative, but in order to know myself, I'm gonna project different aspects of all that I am into different dolls playing out different roles. Okay, and now I've gotten so far away that I forget that necessarily like that I'm making all of it up, and they're like having real challenges over here, and they're doing real things. And if you look at kind of like myself as a parent, why do we want children? Because we want to
Mm.
know ourselves. Okay, like I'm gonna see, like when you fall in love, the first thing a woman will want to do is have a child because she wants to know that man in a different way. So it's like I'm going to get this photocopy, but it's not. It's this altruistic perspective. Okay, so now do this photocopy a billion different times to the point where maybe the first ones that I created don't even remember me. Okay, because they're so far back into separation that they've found alternative ways to power their existence, even still being the spark, the thread, even though
Hmm.
they're always connected, they have forgotten. But because they are made in the image, their ability to survive, right, has gotten to the point where they have so far been removed that they can have the idea and experience of being completely disconnected and even take on the ownership of being God itself. Okay. Now, again, you got to look at this game that's happening all at once, right? Past, present, future. And it's like forgetting yourself and coming back in, there's different spiral points happening, right?
Hmm.
And again, if we look at how big Earth actually is, we're in a snow globe and we think, oh, Earth is this big, and it's really a lot bigger. And there's a lot more going on, and it's all kind of happening at one time. If you kind of look at the bigger picture, it's like there is a creator that is even above the one with the joystick, right? So it's like there's something up there, but I might think that this is me and my avatar, and that's all we are. But there is another perspective, because one thing I've seen as I've gotten to the other side is the creator is an artist, because the way things come back together, it's like the most amazing love story. Like the things that are happening in my life right now, like really tragic, horrific things that I have experienced as I have like gone all the way through. It's
Hmm.
like now the mosaic It's coming back together in this place where I'm like, this is pure art. Like the coordinates that come in, the ideas, the downloads that I get now for all of Unity, not just me, not my little business, but like, oh my gosh, we are literally a puzzle piece and we all fit together. And
Yeah.
when we all fit together, we become the one. So the game is creator doesn't live in a timetable. Who cares how long this takes? Right? And then when we all fit back together, right, we'll make this amazing puzzle that won't make any sense until you get back into your nature or the right shape of your piece.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're going to start fitting together in places that you're going to be like, how? So this is how, if you even look at scripture, you have your own dominion. You are a king or a queen. Like there's no hierarchy. There's territory with your name on it. There's abundance and money with your name on it. That was like at this setup for you at a set point if you made it this far. Like everything is done for you if you can choose to go for it.
Yeah.
And it just
Okay.
like, whoa. And this is where it's almost like you go through kind of your trial, and then your testimony is like the level of compassion that you have for humanity once you actually go through, the discipline of your own discipleship. Like it's like this, it's so beautiful. Like it's so beautiful, but you got to understand that until you get to that point, you're going to think, oh my God, there's crazy people happening. But ultimately, we are that one being, right? Playing itself out completely opposite. I am playing my own fallen angel, okay, and my own Christ. And there
Yeah.
ain't nobody else here except me. So even you are an aspect of me if you look at that reflective consciousness. And the
Yeah.
kingdom is inside. The cells are the citizens. The organs are literally designed to play your soul's song. Your chakras are satellite systems and they're a movie making team. Okay. And everything is in perfect harmony so that I am a completely I can manifest anything I want from the inside,
Yeah.
which means that the creator is not out there. It's actually within. And so this, my auric field is actually a universe. And you're having a universe and I'm having yours, and we can co-create just like the planets can go into orbit and retrograde with each other. That's a co-creation. But
Yeah.
they're all having their individual experience, but they all work together. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. Yeah. It totally makes sense because we're rendering our own reality all the time,
We are.
depending on where you're at. I have a question though. I mean, obviously, when you were younger, you had a difficult childhood, a traumatic childhood, and there are many children in this realm that are having difficult childhoods, aren't they? But they may not even get the opportunity to realize. They might not even get that far. I mean, and why do you think that is? I mean, in terms of a creator, why would a
You mean
creator
why would
do
a
that?
child choose to like die early or not wake
Yeah,
up?
or be in
Okay.
pain and then die. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So, and again, I can completely explain this because I've been on the other side. All right.
yeah,
So, number one, that as a human, we see death or tragedy as a really horrific thing because from that human experience, you're separated from source.
yeah.
Okay. But so remember, we're just, all we are is love. Even the worst possible things in the world are actually love in disguise, and everything is designed to awaken the dreamer. All right.
Hmm.
So a child who is going to have a death experience early, remember, everything's already set up. There's no
Yeah.
victim consciousness in the universe. Everything's already set up. This child will say, you know what? For this part of the game, right? The part that I want to play, where I'm going to come back later into this state of being, I'm going to help my parents wake up by dying. because the
Okay.
first teacher of the third dimension is pain. Okay. Love is your second teacher when you get across the threshold. Like love starts to teach you your life lessons. But until then, pain is your awakener, just like me pouring ice on my son. Like if I'm loving him, wake up, son. All he's doing is going back to sleep. So I'm going to create an ice bath over his head or a death experience. And again, if you look at the children's parable, it's called Little Soul in the Sun, and it was written by Neil Donald Walsh. And I'll tell you
Hmm.
that'll tell you more about past lives than anything, because it's basically like the soul says, I want to go down there and experience myself, and I want
Yeah.
to be the light. Well, then you got to be surrounded with darkness in order to be the light. You know, we didn't come down here to chase light. We came here to glow in the dark. We
Yeah.
came
Yeah.
down
I
here
get
to
that.
go
Yeah.
into the dark and be the light.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I get
the
that.
most loving thing sometimes, and this is going to trigger some people if you don't understand the game, the most loving thing that you can do for someone, if they are here to awaken, their soul will say, you need to leave me. You need to hurt me. You need to play my narcissist. You need to die on me, because your death, grief, and love are the same door. Right? If you go all the way down into the void, which I have, all the way down into the deepest, darkest of darkest places, I'll tell you, it's right next to heaven. It's like they
Hmm.
come together. And so sometimes if you're floating in comfort, your soul, remember, hey, you over there, I need you to trigger me so I wake up. And that soul is going to be like, oh yeah, okay, I'll die for you, and then when we shift over here, you can die for me, and then we'll all wake up. And you don't realize that you're having that higher level experience when you're sitting in a body that hormones feel real.
Yeah.
Your nerves feel like, I just lost my best friend and I'm not going to touch her, or I just lost a child and I'm not going to be able to touch them. Because one of the first initiations that they took me to, when I would, like, after I had my Kundalini awakening, I started going into deep, like everybody would leave in the morning and I would go into deep trance meditation and talk to
Mhm.
my guides and be like, what the hell is happening to me? And one of the first things that they did, and I didn't understand this, and this is going to sound morbid, but they actually took me through the death experience of all four of my children.
Oh my gosh.
And the reason why is they said, any attachment, you won't go all the way. And
Right.
you're here to go all the way. So what they did was they showed me my connection with my children from the other side of the veil, and
Yeah.
how it was like they are a very important part of this puzzle too, but they don't
Yeah.
belong to me. Right? And if I hold on to them as if they're a part of me, right? And they're holding some of my shadow and some of my light, and I try to fix their shadow and I try to, hide in their light. Well, then my coordinate's going to be off when they're like this expression that's going to help the puzzle. So by doing that, I realize like I'm sponsoring these souls and I have this unconditional love, but they don't belong to me. And when you
Mm.
understand, like as a medium as well, you know, as soon as someone crosses over, it's like you are a cup of water, and as soon as you cross over, you get poured back into the ocean, and you're like, I'm the ocean. So there's like people like, oh, I'm so scared for them, and I'm like, why? They
Yeah.
are surfing, like what? Part of their soul fragment might be trapped here in the reincarnation cycle, but the bigger part of them returns. And I feel like what's happened is over the last like 7,000 years, we've been recycling these incarnations, but a part of us every single time goes back to source.
Okay.
So then that part of source then becomes a reconnaissance mission for the lost fragment. So it's like,
Okay.
okay, that's what a tikkun is, which is kind of like in Kabbalah, they teach it as your soul baggage or your astrology. So you come down here and you're like, here's my shit list, right? Like, ugh, this is what I got to go through. But that's the fragment so that you can find yourself in the game from the higher place. It's like, where did I leave my keys? So
Interesting.
you
Interesting.
can you
Yeah.
can see that it's attachment, right? But I bet you, and if you and I were just shooting the shit over a cup of coffee, and I was like, okay, what has made you on this journey? It was not love.
No, of course not.
It was not love. It was pain that
No,
got you
no,
to ask the question,
absolutely.
right?
Too right it was. Yeah. Yeah.
So we have to thank pain. We have to thank the people that left us, rejected us, abandoned us, died on us, or that,
Yeah.
that we did to ourselves, because there is no way to get that nervous system out of that illusion without some sort of crisis. So I always say the crisis creates the Christ vessel within.
Like
And,
that.
and
Yeah.
Christ does not mean like some religious. If you look at the origins, which I study etymology all the time, the origin of the Christ is anointed or chosen. So when you decide that you're going to choose a new adventure, you're going to start going through your Christ walk. You're going to meet your disciples. And one of the greatest movies to understand yourself compassionately with all your crazy parts that you've created is a movie called Split. All right.
Okay.
And again, I make all of my, it's morbid because he's basically he's a superhero, but he's a serial killer at the same time.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And it all came from trauma. So
Yeah.
basically, he has a condition called DID, which is identity disorder dysfunction or something like that. I don't know the acronym
Yeah.
perfectly. But and I've had a client like this, so I have witnessed this in real time. Is it's like you and I, we might have masks, which means like you're one way around your buddies, and then you might be another way around your kids, and then
Yeah.
you handling money, you might be different over there. Okay, but we don't change our clothes or our eye color. Well, when you have DID, you literally become a different alter.
Right. Okay.
All right. So with DID, you're changing. Your voice is changing. Your eye color can change. Like one of you could have
Wow.
one of you could have diabetes. Okay, one of you, and again, whatever shifts the mask, the like potential, but it
Yeah.
usually happens to protect the inner child that was seriously abused. So it's a way that we distort and fragment, right? But with DID, you can visibly see it. But with regular people, you can't see it unless, I always say, you want to know someone's other parts, right? Watch them not get their way. Watch them being trapped. Watch them go broke. Watch them get sick. Because those other parts are going to start jumping out, right? Because again, the world that I want everybody to see is going to be like, oh, but who am I in other states? So
Yeah.
the process of walking back in is collecting all those parts back in. And so I could be a saint over here, and I could have an aspect that's literally a serial killer, right? I may never act on it, which I don't, but I can totally compassionately understand it.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah.
client
Yeah.
that I had 24 alters, different
Right.
aspects. And the
Yeah.
reason that he came to me was because he was putting his own life in danger. Like
Okay. Right.
one of his alters was like going back on a weird site and like hooking up with random people, and like he would end up like naked on the street somewhere in the morning
Wow.
and go, how did I get here? And so he came to me, he's like, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna like change this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we put him under hypnosis, okay? But again, everything, and here's what's so crazy: everything is self protection. Your sabotage, your forgetting things, your little distortion personality twerks that you have, it's actually all coming to protect you.
Hmm.
Because for so long in the game, darkness was so overpowering that you would literally fragment to hide your own light. You'd turn your
Yeah.
volume
It
down.
makes sense. Yeah. It makes sense.
But we're in the golden age, right? So what that means now is we've gone through the whole cycle where the whole world's going to wake up, by the way. And not because they're choosing it, but because the photonic energy structure of Earth is shifting, and it's actually the matrix can't withhold the streaming.
Mm.
So right now there is no matrix, but the matrix lives in the nervous system now. So it's like, you can have an old Atari, right? But it's over there. You can choose to play
Yeah.
it. But when you have belief systems that are anchored in the game, and you have fear and guilt and shame and all these altars that are connected to the old world, it keeps you in a game that's not even alive anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. That makes sense. Do you think that having your own kind of recapitulation, sort of life reviews, and bringing gratitude and forgiveness to situations through your life allows you to come past that? Do you think?
Oh, absolutely. And it's kind of like if you look at your own story, what are you sick and tired of being sick and tired of? Because I don't think that and I know it because of how stubborn I am. There was no way I was going to give up this third dimensional game unless it was like literally ripped away from me, because I was like, I'm going to prove that I can do this. I'm going to save the world. I'm going to help everyone wake up. And that is actually not the game at all.
Yeah.
Like even Elon Musk said in an interview, you guys were never designed to win this game. You were designed to put this game down. And you were designed like, I'm done playing this. Like, and
Yeah.
literally like choose a different direction. But you can't beat the game because it's literally a learning game that goes against your own greatest weaknesses. See, and you're just playing against yourself. It's just like a kid that makes up imaginary friends so it has somebody to talk to. You could get really lost in that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
That makes complete sense to me. And it's very much the Matrix in that respect, then, isn't it? Where you're in the training room, aren't you?
Yeah,
And once you wake up a little bit to the game, then that's when the work starts really.
yeah,
And do you want to stay? Do you want to stay asleep?
right. Well, and again, there's a lot of people who think they're awake that are not.
Oh
Yeah,
no, I
because
know.
again, you can have some parts of you that are awake,
Mm,
and then you have other parts of you that are very asleep, and you're not even
mm.
aware that you have
Oh
parts
yeah,
of you
yeah,
that are asleep.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Hmm.
people are addicted to the drama, though, aren't they?
Well,
You
again,
know?
they're addicted to making their life work. And the one
Yeah.
thing that I realized is that the more you try to make your life work, the more into the game you become.
Mm,
So you
yeah.
literally have to allow that game to die, which is one of the greatest things that Buddha shared with us is non-attachment. Because if I can be non-attached to the game and be like, I'm not attached to making money or my definition of success or being something or being loved or having love. Like if I stop seeking all of those things, then what happens is this internal like wholeness returns, and you realize that you never lost anything, but you have to get to that point in order to experience it. So this is why I think that even very high level spiritual people, if they're still trying to accomplish something in the game, that's going to keep them in the game.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. So it's about deprogramming.
It's deprogramming 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, it's like, okay, what's your why though? Because to deprogram means to go against everything you think is real. And I mean, even yourself at times. And so, again, I think that the people who actually can finish this game and get to the next game are the people who are like literally, they realize that there's nothing for them in separation.
Mm.
It's like you get in a relationship and then it's like separation, and then you get the job and then there's a separation with the money and the worth and all of these things. And it's just like at some point where you've really put a lot of effort in to like being a good person in the game and you realize it's not set up that way, right? You've got to put the game down in order to beat the game.
So when did you get this realization? This is when you lost everything only a few years ago? Is this when you
Hmm.
started to realize the
Hmm.
full aspect of the reality that you're in?
Yeah. Well, in 2012, I got the coordinates. I saw the new earth. I saw harmony. I saw us living in unity. I saw like the way it was all going to be.
Yeah.
But there, whoever I am up there was smart enough to not show me what I was going to have to go through. So it's like I had this like love in my heart to help everybody get there, right? But I had no idea what that was going to look like because the part of me was asleep.
Mm.
And now the way that I would show someone to get there is literally by like going within. And again, the scripture says you can't have two masters. So it's like you become your own master. And I'll tell you, it's a lot like martial arts. It's power versus force. It's the stillness. It's that slow, controlled breath. It's you creating your own inner environment rather than what's happening out there. It's you learning how to biohack your own hormone structure and realizing that your brain is a pharmacy. You know, like my partner asked me the other day, "Oh, you're taking creatine," and I'm like, "Only until my brain knows how to create it on its own, and then I won't need it anymore." You know,
Yeah.
so it's like
Yeah.
as soon as my brain can download the formula, I'll just say make creatine, and then my brain can make creatine. You know, because I'm 50 years old, so it does help, but I don't need it as soon as I have my formula.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we are just these amazing quantum computers, and we're using like 2% of what this thing can do. But when we're connected to the stream, we are literally creating our own death every day, like the Matrix game. We're playing out the Adam and Eve original avatars, right? Think about it. Adam, God is disappointed in you, just like your dad, right? And Eve, you should feel ashamed. And you look at men and women out there, and it's like they're just literally operating like Adam and Eve, right? And it's just like, okay, that's the old avatar.
Yeah.
But the game is going to continue until we're like, you've got to look at shame and guilt differently, right? Because most people are actually motivated by playing small because of shame.
Yeah.
Most
Sure.
people don't realize that guilt, the program of guilt, makes you punish yourself. It's a self-punishment program. So you could have the best opportunity in the world, and if you've got a guilt program running in your nervous system, you're going to sabotage it. And it's going to look like an accident.
And when
So
you
there's
have these
no end in
traumas,
sight.
sorry, Jessica. So when you have these traumas, though, when you come to these realizations, it's difficult not to have the savior complex with that, though, because when you learn how to fix yourself a little bit, then you want to help others as well, don't you? But
No.
that's the ego playing its part there.
Well, I would say when my Kundalini went crazy, yes, I was like, I'm going to save everyone. But I'll tell you this time, I'll tell you what my intention is. It's so different.
Yeah.
Because again, the kingdom is within.
Yeah.
So to me, what I want to do is I want to share the good news. And the good news is the gospel. It's God's spell. So like what I've decided to do is I'm going to stay right here and I'm going to stream from the new space. I'm not going to go over there and recruit. I'm not going to be discipling over there. I'm literally going to stand here and I'm going to tell my new gospel. And I'm going to stay exactly, it's like the beacon or the lighthouse, which means that you're anchored. See, we all think that we're here to ascend, and we're actually here to anchor. And we're here to anchor our nervous system back into Gaia. And we're here to birth. We're here to birth the new world out of us through our cells, through our organs, we're going to birth it out of us. And it's going to work in perfect harmony with other people's versions of their inner heaven.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, I just want to share the good news, and I want to stand right here and be like, oh, this is actually the game. And right from where you are, you can beat the game exactly where you are with what you have, with what you know and what you're doing. If you realize that it's more like we're very much like, if we were going to look at ourselves like seeds, we're like a tree seed, like a top root, which means that you've got to grow down just as high as you're going to grow up.
That's interesting.
So my
Yeah.
3 years was actually just my top root experiences. I was going all the way down into the fertilizer, down into the void, down into the mycelium, down into the darkness that is the womb, basically, so that when I grew up, no weather can change me, right? Because again, if I got weak roots and I'm trying to grow this big oak tree or whatever, I'm going to go with the first storm. So now I can just stay anchored no matter what's going on, and I can like just be the eye of the storm. And not only that, but I can literally like all this new music is birthing out of me, and all of this new like way to share the arrival. It's like the good news is the kingdom is within, you guys. We're gonna go nowhere. There's no place to go, you know? And so that's my intention. And I don't have not one desire to save anybody. Because here's the thing. If I try to save you, that's coming from ego. Because
Yeah.
if I stop your movie from playing out the way that you set it up, right? I'm going to get karma from that. Like if I break your fall too many times, okay, then what happens is you're from the other side of the veil, you're going to be mad at me. You're going to be like, dude, let me fall because that's how I'm going to wake up.
Yeah.
So when
And
we over nurture people or enable them, right, then what we're doing is we're hurting both of us. And I'm not saying you don't love people because that's different. To me, there's a difference between loving someone and trying to save them. Because, like I said, the most loving thing that you can do sometimes is, and I know this because I have 4 kids and my oldest is 30 now. And I do not give advice. I literally watch them bang their head against the wall and then I hold space. Because I know that they have to have that experience. And if I try to break their fall, it's actually only because I don't want to hurt by watching them hurt. You see what I mean? It's like everybody's got to play their part.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So it's about letting go, isn't it?
It is. And it sounds very selfish when you try to like, oh no, it's all within. You know, you got to love all the parts of yourself. But see, if I can love the fallen angel within me, right? I can love my own Satan within me because I'm just a fractal of my highest and lowest part. Then I can love any part of you, right? It's like, so all the stuff that's happening bad in the world is just all of our parts have become these like feral children that are all trying to survive in separation. So the worst possible behavior that you could ever witness is only a nervous system that's in separation. There is nothing bad about the soul. And matter of fact, they're playing out some really horrible experiences to create awakening.
Yeah.
Because only the really bad stuff sometimes gets your attention. Like they took me about 2 years ago, you know, I was really in the dark place. So I would go do a mushroom experience or I would go do something and I would say, don't take me to the light, take me to where, you know, what is actually happening here. And I saw what separation can do. It can create false gods.
Yeah.
And these gods have a lot of power and influence because, again, you're living at this immortal state where you can use alchemy, right? And you can use certain chemicals to stay alive in the game. And so now you know every part of the game because you've been living in some sort of body for thousands of years. So you're learning everything and then you're passing it down to a specific bloodline, right? But it's just chosen separation. At any point in the game, they could be like, I'm going to go home, and it would be the prodigal son. Because the thing is nothing is actually happening down here. It's a hologram.
Yeah.
Your soul is never actually like enslaved. But just like a dream, you know, you've had some very vivid dreams. You wake up and you're like, whoa, that felt real, you know? So you might take the experience, the memory, but you don't take it as actual truth.
Yeah, exactly. And that we're in a dream. That's how it feels.
We're in a complete dream where we want to wake up so we can dream the dream. That's it.
Yeah.
But this is all a dream.
Yeah, it's why do you think do we create these stories, these challenges just purely for that then to experience and take that back? I mean, what happens when this dream ends then? What happens then?
Well, I mean, okay, so let's look at it like this. All right. So, do you have a hobby at all?
Just talking to you right now is my hobby. That's all.
Well, let's say your hobby was like putting old cards back together or something, or puzzles. Okay, what would you do when the puzzle was over? You would create a harder challenge for yourself, wouldn't you? You're like, well, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
I put together this 57 Chevy or put together this 5,000 piece puzzle. Well, now what else can I do? Because a creator is never going to stop being a creator. So the game, you mess the whole thing up and you begin again. So when we all come back together, right, we'll have a cycle. We'll have a cycle of peace and harmony. And then all the pieces will get messed up again, just like my son playing Legos. And you could build this fortress and then be like, well, now I want to build something else. No attachment. No attachment. Because now it's like, what else can I do? What else can I create? See, only ego separation consciousness actually wants to hold on, right? And the masculine energy is the ability to hold, like creation, and the feminine energy is the ability to have it. This is why women are never satisfied. It's like, I can have more. I want to have more. And the masculine's like, wait, I want to hold on to this. But I have masculine and feminine inside of me. So I'm the architect and the artist.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always going to be like, what else can I create? It's like you might save up for 20 years to buy something. And as soon as you get it, you're like, because that is, you're a creator God in a human body. So everything you're doing, see, to me, I like to use the word challenge rather than problem, because challenge means dual. It means you're in a state of duality where it's like, ooh, it's a challenge. Problem means stuck point, like no solution, But here's the thing, you can't, like, there's a waiting list of souls that want bodies to participate in this game right now that are like in the hundreds of thousands. So the fact that you have a body right now and you're sitting here talking to me means you are a very important part of this puzzle. You realize that? You realize how important your puzzle piece is if you're here at this time? Because this is the end game.
Yeah.
This is the game where two worlds are going to exist at the same time, and it's all choice. That is like profound when you look at, like, when people are like, oh, I'm not worthy. And I'm like, you have a body. That means that your life path was literally cleared by a council a mile long, and they were like, yep, we need your puzzle piece down there for this game. So it's like it's so crazy to think about how important everyone is in this game.
Why do people wake up in such different stages then? I mean, it's like, if I was to pass away tomorrow, there's still going to be millions of people that don't wake up for many years, isn't there? So,
but see, here's the thing, time's an illusion.
Yeah.
And let's say you're building this old car with your dad. You don't care how long it takes, because that's what you guys do together. And it might take 30 years. But that's what you do together. Because remember, again, a human is the one who's like on the timetable. Like, we gotta hurry up and do this. But like, if you look at how nature works, I remember this one time I was like really in my masculine. I was like, hurry, go, hyper independent. And I built something, and it was like everybody ghosted me. And I was like, I go to meditation, and I'm like, where's everyone? And literally, it was like the message I got from Source was, I'm here at the speed of nature, which means that I'm participating in the game the same pace the grass grows. I don't know where you are. You're way ahead, so nobody's there, and you think you're getting ghosted, but we're just blooming and growing through cycles, because again, it doesn't matter how long it takes. It's just going to be right.
Yeah.
And you might have to die 1,000 times in the same game. But I'll tell you, as soon as you go into your experience where you connect back into the ocean as the drop, you're going to be like, I can't wait to get back down there, because now I know what to do. You're going to be so excited to come back down. You're going to be like, give me the really jacked up parents this time, so I'll wake up faster. Because you start to kind of get into a rhythm of like, oh, I know. That's why when I started, kind of learning this stuff about the secret and stuff, I was like, I already know this somehow. Like, how do I already know this? And I realized when I started channeling some of the ascended masters, they were like, you've been stuck at the spiritual teacher level for like 4 lifetimes. But your ego is just like, you max out at the glass ceiling. because you can't get beside yourself. Like you've studied this and mastered it in every lifetime. And you're like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Yeah.
Does your soul carry aspects of the avatars, the sort of previous avatars from
Oh
incarnations?
yeah.
As yeah. So it
Mhm.
carries the memory of that because
Mhm.
you come back into this life with a mind wipe as such, don't you? You don't remember anything as a human being, but your soul must carry something.
Your soul knows everything about every life. It's like your true. It's almost like if you look at the soul is like is the blueprint, okay,
Hmm.
and the body is the holographic. Is the holographic streaming of the blueprint itself. And again,
Yeah,
that soul comes from over souls, and it goes all the way. It's just layers and layers. But this body that you have is actually way more connected to your soul than you have any idea of.
mm,
Again, what can happen is your mind can get hacked, and there can be programs running in your computer that you're streaming, but your body is actually hyper aware of of who it's always been. So that's why your body can have PTSD from 4 lifetimes ago. Your body can, but you might not be aware of it because you're
yeah,
not consciously focused in the stillness or the how the cells are feeling. You're worried about what's in your bank account. You see, so again, when you look at the concept of your body's level of intelligence, your body holds the essence of everything you've always ever been. All
yeah,
right. And again, that could be in lineage and bloodline as well, which means you can carry generational frequencies, but it's all still you, right?
yeah,
And again, I noticed in this particular life, like I went through a lot of like a lot of grief and sorrow around like slavery issues and stuff like that. And I recalled being in a lifetime where I was enslaved, like as a black woman, and it was like, oh, I know what that feels like. And then, and then again, the music and the gospel that was coming through in those lifetimes is like I'm starting to bring those back through me now because it's almost like full circle, right? But ultimately, your body's level of intelligence is insane, just like our smartphone. Like, we don't really know what the capabilities of this thing is, but when you get the phone, there's apps downloaded, isn't there?
mm,
And you may never even look at them, but they're there, and they're running in the back of the field. So our job is to look at our smartphone and be like, I don't want that app, I don't want that app. Manually remove those apps, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to put those apps in that you want. It could be, I want to be superhuman, right? Is if you tell your subconscious something long enough, it's literally going to activate the genetics required. So we have genetics back to the mystery schools. We have genetics back to the Greek gods. You watch a Superman movie and your body starts to kind of go, I can do that. I don't know how I can do that, but I know I can fly, or I know your body remembers.
yeah.
So the only thing we're supposed to be doing here is remembering.
I love that. Yeah, that's what I've been saying a long time. Remember who you truly are. That's
Look
what
at the
we're here to
word.
do.
Remember, put yourself back together.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
And when you
exactly.
realize like the power of your own DNA, your DNA is God. It even spells it out. So it's like that's what I'm saying is when we are worried about like what's going to happen with our kid or what's going on in our bank account and stuff like that, which trust me, as a single mom, that sucked me in for 30, 40 years.
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
know and I kept attracting the right narcissist and the right problems so that I would like you know look within.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
it was like, oh, okay, the fertilizer that I attracted out here is literally because I'm going to dig and find the gold. But you don't find the gold out in the world. You find it in the dark. You find it in the dirt. You find it deep. And then if you look at agitation, if we are a seed, if you look at with the life cycle of a seed, it's what we're going through. If you look at the life cycle of a caterpillar butterfly, right there,
Mm.
but you can't sell that because it ain't sexy. It's like, oh, you're gonna die. Like I remember when I wrote Quantum Fitness, and I was like, where's nobody showing up? And I didn't realize that you can't market death. Like I'm like, yeah, come on, I'm gonna kill you. Literally, I'm gonna shock your nervous system into reset because again. Like, we're not here to be better. We're here to go back to factory settings.
Yeah.
That's what we
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
Factory settings. Who you were when you were, 2 years old, and you were curious and you were energetic and you were alive and you loved everyone and you were just excited to be there, and you threw a tantrum and you threw a fit because you know what? That's what emotion is for. And then it's like, oh, now it's like, now it's like going back to that. That's why if you even study the scripture, which I have like endlessly, you have to be like the child to enter, because the more childlike you get, the more wonder you see, and the more everything is just potential,
Yeah. And
right?
there's
Kids don't
such a
care how it
beauty in
comes.
that. Well,
Yeah.
there's your adventure, isn't it? I mean, you
Mhm.
come here to be Indiana Jones, don't you?
You come here, but again, like, think about the nervous system. Like, this is what I ask my clients. Okay, if your life was up on a movie theater right now and you were sitting there watching your last 3 years, would you pay to sit there and watch your last 3 years? And what kind of movie would it be? What genre? Like, think
Exactly.
about
Yeah.
regular humans, how freaking boring their lives are.
No, it's true. It's so true, Jessica. It's so true. I
Like,
mean,
yeah.
when you mention going into the golden age, though, and
hmm
things are getting all peaceful for a cycle, if you like, that's the point where people are going to get bored, then, aren't they?
No. See, I thought that too. That is a
Yeah.
great. I'm really glad you said that, because I literally kind of resisted, because I was like, what is the fun in everybody getting along and everybody being in harmony and blah blah blah. But what we don't realize is that we have become a civilization of people who survive.
Hmm.
Okay, so we've never been a civilization of creators. So
True.
imagine if you had a solid foundation where you didn't have to worry about working for money, okay? And you didn't know I need to figure out like how you were going to eat, and you didn't figure out like, what problems were in your family. What would you actually create if everything was unlimited? But see, our minds don't work that way, because a nervous system that's been in survival feels terror from boredom of peace.
So true.
Like
Yeah.
my first
Very
healthy
true.
relationship, I was like, I need, like, he won't fight me. Like, I felt like, wait, this is boring. Like, you're boring, because there was no survival. So I look at it like this, and this goes back to Neville's great work, like states of being, right? If my
Yeah.
nervous system is streaming scarcity, I'm in scarcity, which means I need to constantly live in a state of something's going to scare me, trigger me.
Mm.
Therefore, I'm using all of my sacral energy, my life force, creative energy to survive.
Hmm.
Now, if I live in Prosper City with everything is in overflow, right? Then all it is okay, like, I have a solid ground, right? What am I going to build? Because before
Yeah.
you were in this body, you were building worlds, right? Now you're trying to figure out how to pay this bill over here. So there's a part of you that's like wanting to get to the stabilization of the golden age, because you have all of the wisdom from all the suffering without any of the hormonal memory, which means you're not triggered, but you have the wisdom. It's like, imagine what we would build out of, like, I look at what I'm building right now, and I will tell you, I am not bored,
No,
because
I
what
get
I'm
that.
doing
Yeah.
is I'm building a physical kingdom from my inner kingdom, right? And it's like the containers and the opportunities and things like that. It's like when you use your life force energy to create like an artist, rather than survive, like, like a prey. You know what I mean? Like, when you're prey your whole life, you see peace as terrifying boredom.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But again, like, when I ask my clients, like, okay, if money was no issue and time was no issue and there was no drama in your family and you already had your perfect person and you already had the house and you already had the cars, and they're like, what do I do? That sounds horrible. I'm like, because again, they're looking at mastering 3D. They don't realize what they could do in 5D, which means,
Mm.
okay, now again, when a woman is pregnant, she has superhuman hormones, so when I activate certain potentials within my own body, then I'm activating superhuman potentials. Yeah, I might have the nice car and the nice house and this, but now I can develop other skills that humans don't have. Because if you go back into channeling Atlantis and stuff, like our physical capabilities were so much more badass, but we weren't worried about a gas bill.
Yeah.
So that's where I want people to go is like, don't think about, yeah, I've got the house and the car. That's the bullshit game of 3D. What you want to go is that's expected. As the child of the kingdom, like everything is mine. This is my dominion to play on, right? Like my son watches these guys on YouTube and they have like 100 million followers and they're like rich kids, right? And they just blow shit up. They'll take $100,000 car just to blow it up,
Mm-hmm.
just to have the experience. You know what I mean? So it's just like you gotta like be able to go and sit in different shoes. Not I'm saying that's cool or not, because obviously they're losing their ability to create past physicality. But if you could manifest the house and the car, which I highly recommend that you do, because then that's just your foundation. That's not your end. That's your beginning.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Because there is coordinates in your heart. I bet you if you've really sat and dreamed big, the things that you could imagine, right? And imagine is I imagine my nation. It's an army of magicians, right? Imagination. There are things in your heart that you're like, there's no way I could do by myself. And there's no way I could do unless I had infinite money. But why is that seed there? Because
Yeah.
if you did, there would be people assigned to you. There's money waiting for you. There's land waiting for you if you can get to that checkpoint. So the biggest possibility that you could imagine in your heart is a potential that is as real as anything. But it's going to feel like there's no way. Like there's things that I'm starting to do right now that I had no talent for. Like I could not physically do, I could not physically create. And now I'm at this point, I'm like, it's literally flowing out of me like second nature.
That's
Because
beautiful alchemy, though.
right. Well, when you take guilt and you promote it,
Mm-hmm.
guilt actually becomes gratitude. And gratitude is a very high frequency. So now the part of you that was playing guilt has new coordinates and it knows how to do other things. So you may think like, oh, I'm bad with money, but that's just a part of you. If you inverted it, it's actually super genius with money. But it's been hiding you in the game so you wouldn't get tortured or something.
I love that. So, we live in a scripted reality. Our life's scripted, but what you're saying really is we can rewrite the story.
Yeah, and this is where like I think I'm not an advocate of any particular religion, but I like to study all the nuggets because it's all scattered. There's this part in Kabbalah that's really eye opening, and it says that until you learn to pause and you stop participating in the game, you have no free will.
Yeah.
Which means that if you looked at your body like a movie making team, your root is the script. So when you're taking actions through the day, you think you're making it up. Even if you change your mind, it's scripted.
Yeah, exactly.
So until you pause and you stop participating, right? Because belief systems are in 3 anchor points, right? They have a structure and they have like a reward system.
Mm-hmm.
So when you stop giving yourself the reward system and you start dismantling the scaffolding, right? And you bring it all the way down to the anchor point, well, and then you start to reward yourself for not reacting. This is actually when you start to create your own game.
Love that.
So it doesn't matter how spiritual you are. If you're chasing podcasts and chasing books, you're still playing the game of a seeker. So it's like I ask people are like, okay, they get on these healing journeys. Well, now they're the actor of healing. They're always going to need something to heal from. So, okay, now I realized I was like, I'm playing this detective. Like my whole life I've been like this crime scene detective. So again, if I don't have something to figure out, I have no purpose. You see, so you got to look at what avatar you're playing out, what genre of a movie you're playing out, and do you freaking like it? Because in
Well,
a real
yeah.
movie, you'd be like, I'm going to get up and walk out. But in your life, you actually are very motivated by your script that you don't know is playing. Even your awakening can be part of it.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of programming, but
Mm-hmm.
this is the thing. You can choose a different story and a different route. And I
Mm-hmm.
noticed I had a nervous breakdown a few years ago, and I realized that I had to change my story, otherwise I was going to repeat because this was my second nervous breakdown. I was like, well, I can't keep doing this. Something has to change.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite interesting when you make those changes in your life, and people go, well, you're not the same anymore, and
Mm-hmm.
so I'm no longer going to be in your life, kind of
Yep.
thing. And all these people disappear, but
Mm-hmm.
all these new people and new opportunities start to come because your story's changing.
Mm-hmm.
You're rendering your new reality. You're creating something different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an adventure.
It
That's the way
is.
I like to look at it.
See, and I think your nervous breakdown was the best thing that happened to you.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah,
again, if you can break down the nervous system, then you can get back to factory settings.
yeah, yeah, agree.
So to
Yeah, I
me, it's
agree.
like someone has a heart attack or this, or gets stung by bees. Like I call it our Spider-Man effect because when he got bit by the spider,
Yeah,
right? It's like every negative is actually a shortcut in this game.
that's right. Yeah,
So
yeah,
everything
that's
that
right.
seems like the worst possible thing that could happen is actually a shortcut if you looked at it from this perspective, not the one that's actually having to deal with it.
Yeah, it's a fascinating life, depending on people's perspectives, isn't it? I mean, you've got to put yourself in the perspective of seeing yourself as an adventurer.
Hmm.
We've been through the traumas. You've been through a lot of traumas. I've been through traumas. And when you're going through the fog, it's hard to put yourself in that perspective. But
It's
there has to
very,
be
it's very hard.
yeah, it's really tricky.
Yeah.
But when you get through the fog, if you can then become the observer and see your path as well, actually look at your path and go, I understand why I went through that. I understand why I went through this
Hmm.
because now I can do this
Right. And
because of
it
that.
will never make sense while you're in it.
No,
It never
no,
will. And even if you knew, like, okay, this is going to make sense later, it still doesn't make it feel better now.
no,
I'm not
that's
saying
right.
that you're going to be able to get through this with no human emotion, right? But see, to me, energy and motion, if you can figure out how to biohack your own hormone state, right?
Mm,
By like looking at like weather is our emotion. I can choose my own weather. I can climate control my own body, but I have to be the observer to do that.
mm,
I can be really angry, but if I become the observer, well, then I can choose the emotion that's actually going to serve me versus I just need to be angry right now. But if you have become the angry avatar, so what people don't realize is they are printing everything out of them through the avatar they're choosing. And your story
yeah.
will never change. You can cut your hair, you can move 2,000 miles away, you can lose 100 pounds. If you do not change the avatar I script, the identity script, you will literally play out the same reality. It might look different. It's going to be the same blueprint. It's going to be the same program, same triggers until your body gives up. So what we want to do is we want to change it at the eye level. And then what you do is you observe your reality to see like the mirror is reflecting. So I say like your player, right? It's going to generate the playmates because your co-stars have to work off of the avatar. That means anybody that you don't like in your reality is because they are assigned to help you play out the character that you're playing. And
Mm,
it also prints out the playground. So you're a 3D printer. From whoever I believe I am, I'm going to create my playmates and my playground. So if I don't like where I am and who I'm around, okay, then it has to change at the identity level,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I don't need to believe anything other than I want to be someone different. And then
That's it.
you
Yeah.
quantum entangle to that, right? And that's the secret is you've got to find the you that you would prefer to be that feels more like your soul, and then you literally latch onto it like it's like an addiction.
Yeah. You
And
be it.
you study everything about that, you method act. that version of you, and then the old you that's not getting attention or reaction anymore, it starts to dissipate.
Yeah.
Okay, but yes, that goes back to attachment. This is why they had to take me through the simulation of losing my kids, because if I'm attached to my reality here, I can want to. I've had people pay me a lot of money for like a year mentorship, but they don't want anything to change. I'm
Right.
like, I
Okay.
am not your girl, because like, again, it's like your character likes complaining about people in your reality, but you're the one who's placing those people on your chessboard so that you can play out this avatar.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing. It's an intention you've got to put out there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to change or not?
Yeah. Right.
You know, it's your personality is your personal reality, isn't it? That's the way it works.
That's how it is. And see, you can think, and this is what I see a lot, is there's a lot of disassociation, right? Like there's parts of you that are on the spiritual journey, that can talk the talk, that can walk the walk, that meditate, that eat perfect and do like, and there's other parts of you who don't want anything to change, who like pity parties, who enjoy
Mm.
suffering. And so again, to me, when you become the observer, you start to see all parts of yourself,
Mm.
and you start to observe the highest part of your personality and the lowest with the same love than you do for the
Yeah.
parts that are great about you. And see, to me, that's when you meet your Judas. Okay, and everybody is going to have a Judas, and the Judas is assigned to your game when it's time for you to cross over. That's why it was a cross over the threshold. You will attract a Judas, and it can either be you, or it will be someone in your physical reality assigned to you to play your Judas. Now, what role did Judas play? Betrayal.
Absolutely.
So I'm either going to have to betray myself, or someone is going to have to betray me to the point where I can no longer be the same person. And whenever start to see that in someone's hologram, I'm like, oh, there's your Judas. Like, you're there. You're at the threshold. Where someone else would be like, I'm going through this betrayal. I'm like, that's your Judas. Because we're like, literally, if you look into the scriptures, like, as soon as Judas came in the scene, Christ was like, this is going to be the way I get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, this is my only way out. If you don't do this to me, I can't create the Holy Spirit to give to everybody else so you guys can play the same game in a simulation form. You know what I mean? It's like the new game depends on Judas.
Yeah, I love that. That's really well put together, that, Jessica. I love that. It's I just find this whole journey fascinating, and I think I'm hoping that I have a lot of people who watch my channel who are really suffering and struggling, and a lot of it's very tricky, like we mentioned before, when you are
That's
in
real.
that fog, and a lot of people come onto my channel who in a soul trap kind
Yes.
of community,
Mm-hmm.
and with that they don't want to come back. That's the comments I get. I'm not coming back. I do not want to come back here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but it's perspective. There's a perspective, isn't there? If your reality is shit, of course you don't want to come back. But if you can change your reality
Right. Mm.
and have a more enjoyable experience.
I think that's a level of intelligence when people say they don't want to come back. Like, I don't. I think because what they're saying is this isn't who I am, and that's to be honored.
Mm,
Because whether someone is spiritually bypassing or what, it's like, they're still, like, their viewpoint is valid, and they
mm,
are to be honored where anyone is. Because it's like, even if you go back and look at Christ, like, who was he hanging out with? Like, who was he investing his time with? It was the ones who maybe were like outlaws or renegades, or like doing things that were not allowed in those times. But what he saw in them is they are not willing to play the game, so I'm going to go help them. Right?
yeah,
I'm going to go remind them of who they are, because the ones that are on the high horse, right? They aren't the ones that I'm going to speak to. So it's like, when we speak to our own, like, inner leper, or our own, like, we feed our own hungry self, then what we are doing is we are saying, you're right, you don't want to come back to this but you weren't going to leave. You're here to bring heaven in through you by not wanting to be here. Like, that's one of the requirements. Like, when I see my clients who come to me and they have like a rich husband and, they can go and do these things, I'm like, you guys aren't ready yet. You're too comfortable. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
you're still enjoying some of these qualities here. There's no way you're going to go for this, right? Because the more comfortable you are, even in your own misery, some people have made a reality out of being unhappy. And again, it's like, oh, if I took away your unhappiness, who are you? Like, if I take away your illness, how are you going to get attention? So people, when sometimes when they show up to me, I do a discovery call now, because it's like, do you want to be here, or just one part of you brought you here? Right? Because again, I'm going to speak to all of you as equal, even if there's a fallen angel within you, even if there is a really twisted part of you, I'm going to love it just like I'm going to love the part of you that's like taking the classes. Because that part of you actually has more wisdom. The part of you that's been trapped in the cycle for thousands of years has more wisdom in their pinky finger than the spiritual version of you.
Yeah.
Let me talk to that person, because that version is like the one that knows the way out. And I will tell you, my last year, it was my darkest parts of me that helped me out of hell. It was not my light. And what's interesting is I decoded all the astrology to match all the disciples, right? So it's like, I looked at my first house, and my 12th house is Christ and Judas. And the Gemini, I'm a Gemini, so I'm playing both sides. So it was actually, I betrayed myself. So it was like, I didn't get betrayed by a boyfriend or money. It's like, I betrayed my own self and literally watched myself do that. And it was perfect, though, because if someone else would have betrayed me, I could have got lost in that story for 3 lifetimes. It's like, blame is one of the biggest dopamine hits there is. That's why I feel so good. Like, oh, it's not my fault, right? But again, if we're looking at reflective reality as hologram, everything's me kind of pushed out. Like, okay, I betrayed myself. So the war is actually just here.
You mentioned about obviously the souls are trying, they're queuing up to be here. They're wanting to be here. Do you think that the souls that are crying to not come back are the ones that will want to come back?
I don't think there's any soul that doesn't want to come back. I think that there's a human that doesn't want to come back.
Oh yeah,
Remember, the soul doesn't leave the state of heaven or bliss or wholeness. The soul is it's never comes here, right? It integrates in when you provide space enough, and then it anchors in, and that's where the superhuman abilities come in, when the soul merges into the body. But that doesn't happen. Like, if there's someone who's like, my soul doesn't want to come back here. Your soul's not here. Remember, you're the holding the joystick. That's the soul.
Yeah.
The avatar is the extension or the blueprint copy that's having a physical experience, okay? But it isn't, the soul stays unharmed and not fragmented whatsoever. So it's like a prism, like we're a prism, and the white light is a refractor point when all the colors are lined up. So if you looked at which is why one of my projects is called Prison to Prism, because we're going from pulling all of our light back in and streaming, right? And then having that one stream, like the beacon or the lighthouse, versus scattered light, right? And again, scattered light protects you from prey.
Yeah.
You don't know where the light's coming from. But when I'm streaming light, I'm grounded, I'm anchored, I'm whole. But anyone who says, I don't want to come back here, that is their hurt parts that have been stuck in the game, but that's not their whole soul. That's the aspect of them that had to live in separation, right? And so they're tired and they're exhausted. Plus, the game is wearing off. Like, you guys, we're going to notice in the next 5 years, like, you're going to truly understand why the autism community is here, because they're the glitch. They're the code
Hmm.
writers, right? They're the ones who didn't get involved in the emotional story, right? And then you're going to look at all this androgynous energy coming in, and what that's going to do is it's going to lay the framework for breaking like old paradigms and things like that. But it's just a matter of time until the hologram or the hallucination starts to wake everybody up, right? But even though you wake up, there's still going to be a walk and a choice.
Mm.
Because you can look at like the conspiracy theory community right now, which I think is like if you look at a bridge, right? We're all on a bridge. Like you wake up over here, and then like I would say halfway through the bridge is like all the conspiracy. And it's like it's juicy and it's horrific and it's a train wreck, and you really can get lost in it.
Yeah, yeah,
Because it's
yeah.
like the truth is gonna piss you off before it sets you free.
Yeah, exactly. Of course it will.
But then there's going to be a
Absolutely.
point in time where you're going to go, okay, I'm literally, this is where you fund your reality, your heart center. You fund your reality right here. So if I'm giving my focused attention 24 hours a day to conspiracy theory, I'm actually building it bigger because
Yeah, definitely.
I'm the funder, I'm the creator.
Yeah.
So again, we kind of need to look at that to be like, I don't want to live in a world like that. So then that lets us put down the conspiracy theory and go, now I'm going to create my own reality, which means I need to be watching my news. I need to be watching my stories. I need to be watching my filters. I watching my investments, where I'm paying attention to, what I'm funding. And then you start to pour energy into the quantum entanglement of your ideal self. And you literally just, you get blinders on until that part starts to animate.
Mm,
And
yeah.
it will
Yeah.
happen. It will happen, but it's not going to happen from a podcast that you're talking about conspiracy theories from, because that means that you're keeping that alive by talking about it, because the
Yeah.
word is a spell.
Absolutely.
That's a really
Absolutely.
it's really juicy. Trust me, I had to get caught in my part too. Like I had to know everything that was going on underground so I could make the full decision. I don't want any part of that. Like I had to know what was going on in the dark web and underneath and above and off grid and off this. I needed to know everything so I could make a true decision. Because
Mm,
again, the savior part of me thought I could still save over there until you see what's really going on, and you're like, you got to put the whole world down because there is no future for your kids in that world. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
it can't be fixed. It's a dumpster fire, right?
Yeah. 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 So it's about creating your
A new
game
world.
well, yeah, within this. So like you said, the matrix is breaking down. Your matrix needs to be built. Um,
You build your own matrix from within. And what's so cool about it is when you start to kind of pour your own light back into yourself, you become invisible, which means that you start to get all your attention inside, and you'll go through like your own parts kind of, freaking out at first and trying to pull you back in. But
of course.
then what happens is you start to get invisible. So, and I'll share a story, and it's embarrassing, but it's awesome. When I knew that the matrix was literally didn't exist for me anymore, it was because when I was at my highest point, I make $100,000 a month. Okay, I buy close to $200,000 Range Rover because why not, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm living my dream. I have my dream house. I got everything, and then I go into my fall. Okay,
Yeah.
and at the time, my car payment was like $2,500 a month, right?
Wow.
And I went from $100,000 a month, $30,000 a month, sometimes down to zero. And literally, I had no desire to teach or to get clients or hustle or anything. Like there was no will inside of me.
Mm,
And so I would literally get into this place where I would just go into my own kingdom, and I would focus on like already being in this space. Okay. And so I just let my car sit out there, and I'm like, at some point they're going to come get it. Right. And I would still have to drive it because I'm like, I don't have the money to go buy another car. Like in our country, it's like they can come and take it. Right. Because They're not paying for it. And they had your address, and they called for a few months. And then when I just like detached from it, it was so crazy because I literally drove it for a year. Okay. I had cops behind me. Nobody ever pulled me over. I could literally have gone to jail because I'm driving basically a stolen car. Like this is how bad it got for me. But I was literally so in my own world of it's already done, right? That when I finally got past kind of like some of the grief stages, I like reached out to the car company, right? It's sitting out there for no car payment for over a year and a half. Like no one came. I called. They didn't even have record of the car. They were like, we don't recognize this car. Like, we don't see. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, here I'm trying to do the right thing, right? And like, I can't register it because I haven't made any payments on it. And that's going to show up. I have no insurance on it. Like, in our country, you just don't do that. And like, no record. So I put the phone down. I'm like, okay, I'm in a parallel reality. I'm going to try it again next week. Literally 2 years almost. 2 years. The perfect car. It wasn't like a lemon. They could have resold it. They had no evidence of it. Yeah. Finally, what we did was we parked it on a legal street corner because I had a new car by then, and so it would get towed. So at least someone would, like, I wanted someone to have the car. But that's what I'm saying is there gets to be a point in your game where you might be aware of the other game that's happening. But in your game, the rules don't apply because if you actually study kingdom, the frequency of the kingdom, which is a real government, by the way, the rules are so different. Remember, inversion versus like prosper city versus scarcity. In prosper city, you own everything. You're the creditor, right? Everything is your dominion. So when you start to kind of like study kingdom and you start to treat it like a true government and you start to become your own ambassador, you build the avatar of it, the rules do not apply. And not only that, there will be people who will show up in your life and just take care of shit. Like while you're going through, like when you start to really go for it, you are so supported. Yeah. Like you might be in your own hell dealing with your own inner demons, but you will have angels that will show up in human form. Like I don't even know how any bill got paid. I don't know how I got through, but it was like every month something would happen so I could like finish the journey. Right? And so again, it's so exciting because there are a couple of my clients that are going through this right now. And they're like at that place and they're seeing like this doesn't, like my student loan just disappeared, right? Like it's just so cool because I think for me, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you if I wasn't on the other side in this way, because I have actually seen what is on the other side now. So this isn't like hype, like, yeah, let's all go to heaven. It's like, oh no, it's literally going to come out of you. And then everything that comes out of you is going to be like your own gospel from your own, like your own hell that becomes heaven. So it's so much more amazing because it's like you've been on the other side. So you have so much more love from it, but instead if it was just handed to you easily. You know what I mean? Like you've literally you've become your own phoenix, the ashes of your life. And I know you've experienced this if you've had these nervous breakdowns. Like those ashes are going to be the very thing that like builds you.
Absolutely.
And then you have so much certainty. I'm not walking around like someone's going to pay my bills. What I'm saying is like if I really give 100% to who I choose to be, and this is not a person that's like wanting to be famous to feel better about themselves or hide some sort of shame, but just the version of you in your heart, that version of you will be divinely supported, like 100%. The right people,
Yeah.
the right places, the right things are going to show up. And so what's happening now is like I have this concept that I'm building right out of what's inside of me that doesn't exist at all in any world. I'm building this from scratch, this new concept, and there's people who just happen to know how to do it that are showing up. Like, oh, I know how to do that. Oh, I know how to do that. I know how to do it. I'm like, okay. So again, it becomes like the 80-20 rule where you're working 20% of the time and you're living 80. Living. I mean, you're being that adventurer. You're being the one who's like alive, not surviving,
Yeah.
but alive in your own body, which is so much more awesome because when you go into the spirit world, you can't taste chocolate. So imagine having the food and the love and the connection and all the hormones that make you feel so alive, and you get to be in human form. You know what I mean? So it's like the best of both worlds. So that's why we came to bring and anchor our own heaven here so we could experience the somewhat of a separation in the form of that heaven aspect, which means I still can get hungry, but I don't have to eat, right? I
And that's
could get
the
older, but I don't have to.
and that's the human experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a beautiful experience that you're having now. And you must have so much gratitude for all the trauma that you've had.
I do, because without it, I wouldn't have got here. And I
Yeah.
have so much compassion, like for everyone. Like there is not one person that I have seen that I'm like, I don't fully understand you. Like I 100%, I get everything you're doing. It could be the
Mm.
worst possible thing, but it's a strategic part of this puzzle because there are no randoms ever. Everything is strategic. I don't care if a bird flies by you, it's part of your specific journey.
The Truman Show.
It is 100%. But you're supposed to wake up in that and then be like, wait, do I like this or would I like to build like what my matrix would look like?
Ex- exactly.
And
Exactly.
because you've been in someone else's, you even know even more what you would prefer. Because here's the thing,
Exactly.
we recycle into this game that they've been building their own matrix for a really long time. And so they have their matrix built exactly how they want it. Okay? Coming from the viewpoint of separation. So when we come in, we're in their game. And it's supposed to piss us off so much that we're like, well, I'm a god too. I can create my own. We're not trying to figure out how to live in there and get wealthy in there or famous in there because that don't work. Like you're supposed to learn how it's set up, and so you can go, oh, I'll build my own. So you're going to start to see a lot of new amazing systems coming in the line. And if you're kind of at that cross point where you got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you're going to be able to see both worlds
Yeah,
happening.
yeah. Yeah, the timeline split.
And again, it's going to get further and further away. Like, you listen to Bashar, he'll say these timelines are going to get further and further away because it's like
Yeah.
now things will happen and I won't notice it, see it. It won't affect me whatsoever. I might hear about it 3 weeks later, but it is so irrelevant. You know what I mean? Because it's like it doesn't even monitor in my own reality because the game here is different than the game over there.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And then when we have a big
Just
enough collective who's anchored into the new frequencies that all work together, that's when it's like the 100 monkey effect. It'll be a lot easier for everybody to get over there because it's already built. You know what I mean?
sounds exciting. Your next steps as well. I look forward to learning more about that as you build your new
Yes,
creation.
I'm building the kingdom that's like been inside of me since I was a kid.
I
Like there's
can't
one thing
wait.
you'll know is who you were when you were a little tiny kid is the real
Yeah.
you,
Well, I was a
right?
Jedi.
Exactly. And you can use the force for bad or good.
Absolutely.
But here's the
Of course
thing,
you
the
can.
creator, which is us, right? It doesn't care whether you create negatively or positive, because it's an experience. Just like my son said, let's play good guys and bad guys. Let's destroy the Lego house we built a whole summer making, because
Yeah,
what
that's
else
right.
can we build? Remember, we're learning how to create more through chaos, through destruction. So if you look at the concept of God being a generator, operator, destroyer, really is transmutation. It's like even the most beautiful flowers in the world, they're going to die. But if someone walked over and was like, this is the most beautiful rose in the world, and acknowledged it because it's a 2-point concept, quantum physics, that rose, once it expels and goes through its life experience, is even going to be more beautiful because someone noticed it. Right. So
Yeah.
it's like, what else can I do? What else can I be? Right now, it's frequency connecting to a bee that's going to pollinate it in a completely different environment, so it can be a different color. So the genius of our own expression, it's almost like, okay, if you look at a superhero and a supervillain, what's the difference? Trauma.
Yeah.
One is a super thinker, super intelligence, and one is super strength. It's just how they decide to be. And again, if you like, for me, I was really fascinated with like these documentaries of serial killers, not because, like I wanted to know how their minds worked. Like, how do they, and again, it's like, so it's just as interesting, as someone over here creating like the cures for everything, is if you look at destroyer and creator as equally like neutral in the genius factor, right? But one's coming from trauma, actually both of them usually have trauma, but it's like, am I getting better or bitter, right? So it's like one got bitter, one got better. So, but it's still super intelligence comes from pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So no pressure, no diamond. So it's like,
Very
I tell
true.
the first thing to my clients is, you're going to get comfortable with pain, and pain is not an enemy. And I don't
Mm.
mean physical pain. I mean that you're going to learn to observe it differently, where you're not taking it personally. You build a new relationship with it, just like someone who's giving birth. Like, you and this pain are in this relationship, contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion, and that's going to be how it is until now. There's a new world.
And that's alchemy.
It is alchemy, yeah. And to
That's
me,
beautiful.
alchemy means all of me. That means the only way I'm going to get to my new place is to bring all my parts, which means the
Yeah.
worst possible parts of me. See, I'm not here to be love and light.
No.
I'm here to love all parts of me, so that instead of them behaving badly within me, they get promoted with the genius of the supervillain becomes the superhero within. So we're not leaving any parts of us behind. You cannot abandon any part of you. Otherwise, you're not the alchemist. You're taking your Judas with you. You're taking your shame with you. But you're going to take it from compassion, and then you're going to use it, because the spectrum of the prism needs all 7 colors, right? It needs the anger. It needs this, and it needs everything in order to be its whole self. So we come down here, we get split, and then we put ourselves back together, and now we have so much compassion and understanding because we played both sides.
Jessica, I could talk to you all night. I really could. I mean,
I,
there's so much more I could get into. And
mm,
so
we should talk again in a few months, because there's a lot more coming through.
I would love to. I
Yeah.
really would love to. Yeah, I'd love to do that. Can you let people know where people can find you if they want to get on your courses or find your books? Where's the best place to look?
Well, I'll tell you, because I'm like in between worlds right now.
Hmm.
I'm constantly like destroying some old containers that I built. The old version of who I was, and I have a lot of stuff like underground right now that's about to bloom,
Yeah.
probably in the next 30 days. But
Okay.
and I don't have a lot of my content out there. I haven't been looking for clients. I haven't been promoting myself. Like, I don't do any marketing. I got kicked off Facebook. I lost 10,000 followers, like I haven't cared because again, I really can't help anyone if I'm not whole. So I've been
Yeah.
really focusing on the embodiment part. So the little website that I have up right now, that's just literally to keep my own masterclass going. It's called Just the Atomic Blonde. And it's like a little website that's just like barely out there,
Yeah.
and it's got a few of my classes on it. I always offer everybody like 30-minute to an hour free consultation, because i
Yeah.
can i can give you more in 30 minutes than you could probably get in a year of podcasts, because
Yeah.
I'm going to look at all of you and be like, here's your strategy, right? You don't need me, because again, where I'm going in the future is I'm going into a place of, I don't think anyone needs me, right?
Mm.
I want to bring the celebration. I want to bring the frequency of the kingdom, or our version of heaven, and I just want to like blast it with my boombox, because it's going to wake people up and remind them that it's already here.
Love it. I love it.
So it's like, I just want to bring the party where it's like just a few tweaks, right? Stop trying to fix that, let that die, like turn that up, you know. So and like what I say is if someone's been actively at this for a while, give me 3 months. Let's
Yeah.
do a little private work together. You will be there. I will show you where your Judas is. I will show you this. I'll show because again, it's like once you've done it, it's like everyone is going to have the same journey, different storyline. Like, no, Jess, you don't understand. This is happening to me. I'm like, and it's the same storyline.
Mm.
Like, I mean, for 16 years, I've been doing this professionally, all over the planet, different time zones. It's always four things: time, relationships, health, and money. I don't
Yeah.
care who you are. That's your
Yeah.
Achilles heel. That's your kryptonite. And you think your story is so different, but it is just your particular storyline, because the tragedy of your own life is actually going to be what the gold is on the other side. So it's equal. Like if you look at your I am, as horrible as I am not, is the strength of your I am.
Love that.
So regardless of what you're going through, your greatness it is the you that you think you never will be, the stuff you're settling for, the breadcrumbs that you're settling for right now, like you're holding on to this, and again, like it, again. But I couldn't say this if I wasn't on the other side. So what I've been teaching these last 3 years is I've been teaching my walk through the shadow of death. It's
Right.
like this is the map. I'm not there yet. And now, like, you are the first podcast that I've been on where I'm like, I'm here. Like
Oh, wonderful.
the matrix doesn't operate out there in my body anymore, right? But I know exactly where you are, but it doesn't affect me. So the way that I can hold space for you is the same way that when I'm channeling that, they're not taking anything that's going on with me personally, right? They're not involved. So it's this like beautiful way to hold space for people where I don't have
Yeah.
to go down into the suffering. Instead, like I can hold the flashlight and be like, just a step to the left. Because you guys, it's like a tweak to the right, a tweak to the left. It's so much less than you think you're gonna have to do. Because you think you're gonna have to do all these things. It's like, no, it's like it's just quantum entanglement. And right
Yeah.
now, 90% of the population is quantum entangled to their past, broken, underachieving, rejected, abandoned self. And so, no matter how much they try to get away from that, it's a quantum entanglement.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're feeding their problem more than they're feeding their joy. Joy is the secret frequency. And we treat joy like it's a reward for working. And if you actually chose joy at the base point of your day, instead of giving it to yourself at the end of the night, you cheat code months out of your journey. but it seems selfish. It seems wrong, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
again, when I start to show you guys these like basic rules, it's going to feel so humanly incorrect, like writing with your other hand. But do you see that's actually like it's not linear. You know, you've never been, there's no straight line here. You
No.
know, it's like you find your 0 point and stop getting stuck in the past and the future, and you focus all your energy on the 0 point, and you become the Neo, and all of a sudden the bullets are falling down and you're bending spoons.
There is
Because
no
there is
spoon.
so many like abilities that you guys have inside of you that are never getting any screen time because you're using your creative force to survive. Because the human body can do everything that you've ever seen a superhero do. Where do they get the stories from? Everything's channeled. Everything is a memory.
Yeah.
So
Jessica,
yeah,
thank you so
we'll
much for
talk soon. Yeah, but again, if
thank
people
you.
want to reach out, they can find me there. I am on Facebook, the Atomic Blonde. I do have the IG up still. They never took it. I haven't done much with it. It's
Mm,
existing, but I'm not really like doing much with it because again, everything I'm
mm,
doing right now is I'm not sharing like one thing at a time. When it comes up, it's going to be like what the heck? Like it's like a full kingdom. You know what I
you
mean?
haven't
And it's going
you,
to
you
be for the people. This isn't like, oh, for my glow up. No, this is like, you may not even see me necessarily because I don't care. Like, the businesses don't have my name. It's like everything is about the people. It's about the new collective. It's about the soul song. It's about the gospel. And that means that's the good news. It's the God spell. It's remembering that we are creators, right? But if we're not creating, we could be destroying, and we could be destroying intentionally to get back to creation.
yeah,
So
yeah,
if people are really messing up their life right now, good, because that means that they're destroying it to create. So even if someone's like taking a lot of drugs, and that might be the way that they're in, right? That D of the word God in that timeline. So not that we're not going to love them and help them, but you can't save someone who's actually using destruction to wake up.
mm,
And we're just here to love everybody. Like when I say you just love everyone, right? And no matter what they're doing, because the frequency of that, it anchors you above like even if you could find like the purpose in the worst predator. If you could find that from a collective place, not what they're doing to one individual child that literally signed up to have that experience to help the collective wake up, right? Because like you can have a walk-in situation, or you can have 2 years in a body and do more for the collective than being here for 80 years and doing nothing on the couch.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So remember, your time here is strategic, and you're playing a role, and you're in a costume for a bigger game. So you're actually here for unity, but you've got to unify within first. And so the parts of yourself that are really like, in discord or at war, like that's where the work is. And then you just use the reflection of reality as your feedback loop. Like what's happening in here is what I'm feeling out there. All right. Not what I'm seeing out there, but how I feel. Right. And that is going to be your clue. So I think that's the greatest help that I can give people right now is helping
Wonderful.
them get into that observer, right?
Yeah,
And helping people find that 0 point, and helping people remember that greater part of themselves, that seed that got put in the heart that's like bigger than life itself. Because most people are like, they want me to help them breadcrumb. Like, I just want a little bit more money, or I want that guy back. And I'm like, you want the breadcrumb because you've already decided to settle. So if you're settling, now you got to figure out how to keep the warden feeding you, right? And so it's like I just go back to the movie Shawshank Redemption. It's like get busy living or get busy dying. There's no in between. And
mm,
if you watched that movie, have you?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so you remember when Andy finally realized like there was no getting out, Like
Mm-hmm.
there was no convincing the warden. Like it was a setup, right?
Yeah.
What did he do? He got real still. He got real quiet. He went under the radar, and he didn't care how long it took, did he?
No, that's right.
So again, that movie to me is like it's the story. It's the story because and then his best friend Red like tried to figure out how to get back in because he was so afraid of the
Mm-hmm.
freedom.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you start to get a lot of freedom, and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with that? So
That's it.
it just really comes down to what is your definition of freedom? Are you here to be
Definitely.
truly sovereign, a steward of your own matrix? Right, and it's not going to be for everyone in this timeline. It's not everybody's going to choose that. But just where I am, and probably in a year from now, I won't take private clients because what I'm doing is I'm producing basically enough content in written and like new scripture that gives all these cheat codes. Because again, like I said, ain't nobody got a new story.
Mm-hmm.
So I could write the book that is the same story, right? And again, no parables this time. Just this is it. There's no like encrypted stuff. It's like this is it. Like you're feeling this. This is what's happening. Everything's in content form. Everything is for masculine feminine unity. Everything is based in the inner child. Everything is based in the nervous system and the somatic trauma that keeps us streaming the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the idea of the generator operator destroyer, which means that it takes some of the weirdness out of God, right? And you look at yourself as a piece. You're the piece of the whole.
Yeah.
And everything
Yeah.
that you do has the butterfly effect, which means if you hurt yourself, you're hurting the collective. If you help yourself, you're helping the collective. You don't really understand that until you get into it more. But if there is someone that's on the edge, like let's say someone actually sits and watches this whole podcast. Okay. Anybody that will sit and watch this entire podcast is ready.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there might be a
Yeah.
part of them 10 minutes in that's like, I'm bored or her voice is annoying. And the reason why is because that part does not want them out.
Yeah. No, that's right.
Or they
That's
fall
exactly.
asleep. Right.
Yeah. 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 Well, that's exactly right, and that's why we do these chats, though, isn't it? So we can put them out there, and whoever it resonates with will resonate with them.
That's what
So
I mean.
that's what it's about, really.
And
But
if you look at the Christ, he wasn't talking about Christianity. He said the kingdom is here and it's within you.
Yeah, the
That's
kingdom's
all he
within.
said.
Yeah,
The kingdom is
exactly.
within you. Treat your neighbor like you're treating yourself because it's a mirror. Like it's the
The
same
whole
thing.
place
I'm
is a
saying,
mirror.
right?
The whole this realm is a mirror.
It's just a reflection.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
And no matter where you go, you're going to bring yourself with you. So what I say is instead of trying to get on that vacation or spend all this money like trying to change some aspect of the physical self, right? Your best investment would be to get these cheat codes, right? Because again, it's simple. It's a nervous system. It's quantum entanglement. It's intention. It's focus. It's literally your own currency. Your clean kingdom currency is where you put your energy.
Will you come back and tell us about this kingdom when it's up and
I want
running?
to come back and we're really close. Like we're really like that's what we're working on all day today. And again,
Cool.
it's going to be it's we're gonna show you that heaven is a pattern, not a place.
Love it.
And so I will be able to physically prove that it is a
Love it.
pattern, that it is a frequency. And when you can match the frequency, right, your life will be your heaven on earth. And it will be custom to your unique soul signature and your unique soul song. And it will be like the whole world molded around like if you designed it.
Well, I'm already very excited to have our
Yes.
second chat.
Me too.
Jessica, thank you so much for your wisdom. Your wisdom has been amazing. I really appreciate you and the work that you're putting out there. And much love to you, Jess.
Thank you for doing this because this there might be one person that sticks with us the whole time, and that could be like such a strategic place for the world. You know what I mean? And like what
Absolutely.
your experience that you're going through, like anything you need, reach out, because like there's no work anymore. There is just share and serve. There's just
Agreed.
let me share and let
Yeah.
me serve. Like there is no work, there is no 9 to 5. I don't even know what day it is half the time, right? And
I'm
and
like that.
if you need anything, just like reach out. We're friends now, like if there's a place where you're stuck, like I have no problem picking up the phone and like helping you see where you are. Because again, like let's make heaven on earth crowded.
Let's do that. Let's do that. I'm with you there,
To
Jessica.
me, that's the festival, that's the party. We're not
Yeah.
escaping our life. We're literally going to celebrate it. And to me, celebrate means break the cell. So the frequency of celebrate is your first key out of here. Celebrate everything. Celebrate, the fact that that they canceled the plans. Celebrate it. Celebrate the nervous system that's blowed out. Like that was your way out.
Yeah. 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 You're
So
wonderful, Jessica. You're
yeah.
wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I love this time. Sorry, I just talked so much, but I just
Oh,
want people to know
wonderful.
that it's a game. Like all there is love. Love it's just a movie. It's a stage, and everything is love in disguise. Everything.
Thank you, Jess.
Yes. All right. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for having me, and we'll talk soon.